Hey, Facebook users. Hello. Bear with this card. Going live on Instagram. Hello, Facebook and Instagram friends and family. It's Julie with Paradigm Interiors. And today I am doing my last little talk on lighting. So if you've been tuning in and you have any questions, I would love to hear from you in the live tomorrow, because tomorrow's my live Q&A. If I don't have any questions, and I'm going to get on here and ramble for a little bit. So no one wants that. So ask me some questions, please. So here we go. Today I promised you that I would have some tips. So one of the tips that I actually gave you yesterday, which is have a little notebook or, a little miniature pad of paper and a pencil in any room you're ever thinking about modifying in any way. This is something that I teach in my Feathering Your Empty Nest course to the people who take the course. That if you really want to do something amazing with your home, you have to plan. And that doesn't mean going on Pinterest and starting a board, which I love Pinterest, and I use that when I do client consultations, and during the design process I use that to share ideas with clients. Or House has idea books, and you can go on there, you can make an idea book. That's not really the kind of planning that you need to be doing, especially for lighting. Yes, you can go on House and you can go on Pinterest and you can see all the pretty things, but when it comes to functionality, pictures aren't going to help you. Functionality and knowing what you need from a functionality standpoint is going to happen when you are taking notes and using your space. So that's my number one tip for any project, but lighting especially, because that is how you're going to get to the bottom of it. Is put that little notebook, take a pen. When you're in your kitchen, you can, while you're using the space, and go, God, I really could use some more light in this one. Or I found that, I get up and, 10 o'clock at night every night and I go into the kitchen, but I really don't want the lights to come on. Or if you're like me and you're the first one out of bed in the morning and everybody else is still asleep, you probably don't want to wake everybody up by turning on a bunch of lights. So it would be nice to have some toe kick lighting and maybe under cabinet lighting. It's a little bit softer. Plus, in the morning, it's a little harsh to turn on all the kitchen lights. Okay, so next tip is recessed lighting. So there's a couple of things you need to know about recessed lighting. That is, they need to be about 6 feet apart. You don't really want them too close together. It will be too much light. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but you really want them to be 6 to 8 feet apart, ideally, because the way that the light spreads out from the recessed light. And in a kitchen, you also want them to be in between your wall cabinets and the edge of the countertop. They need to be there, because when that light comes down, that cone of light kind of comes down like this, you don't want there to be a lot of shadow created by your body doing the work of whatever it is you're doing on the counter surface, right? So if they're too far back here, then the light's going to come down and create a huge shadow where you're trying to get light. And even though those are technically ambient lights, for counter surfaces and work prep areas, sometimes they are the light that also provides task lighting for those. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing is, and it's not exactly related to lighting, but it's still important because it goes hand in hand with your lighting to create the best visual for your eyes when you're doing the work of things in the kitchen, which of course, if you are doing the work of things in the knives and chopping food, cutting fingers, bleeding, no, we don't want that. So what we do want to do is have a counter surface that is not as shiny. So you're going to want to pick something that doesn't have like this super duper high gloss, high gleam, polished finish. So, that will cause a glare from the lighting, and that will compete, and you won't be able to see as well because of the glare for cutting food and preparing. And then my last tip is to, if you are going to use LED lights, and I think I have just let you know how much I love LED lighting. But if you do use LED lighting, make sure that the LED bulbs that you choose aren't too different in color from each other. So remember yesterday I talked a little bit about how pick the color of your LED lights now. So we have some LED lights that kind of have a warmer, more yellow, soft glow to them. And then there's some that have that, like the original LED lights that came out. You probably saw them a lot on Christmas trees, and it made the Christmas trees look kind of blue almost compared to the incandescent bulbs that we used to put on Christmas trees. So that blue is actually, it's nice. It's nice for lighting in your house because it looks like sunlight, it looks like natural daylight. But we actually tend to prefer a little bit more of a golden tone. So what'll happen sometimes is you may start ordering yourself some lighting online. You're like, oh, I like this one, I like this one. And you may not be paying attention to this thing called the kelvins. And the Kelvin, Kelvin, tells you how yellow or blue that light is going to look, or warm or cool. So a high number on your Kelvin tells you that it's going to be really bright, kind of blue colored. A low number on the Kelvin tells you that it's going to be warmer, a little more yellow. If I've lost you, I apologize. This is very techie stuff here. But it's important, and if you work with an electrician, especially a really good electrician, like the electricians that I work with, they will tell you, you don't want to use this bulb over here and this bulb over here because you'll have a blue spot here and a yellow spot here and it won't look right. So they've kind of put it in plain terms, and that's the plainest terms that I can think of. But when you're shopping online, try to pay attention to things like the bulb that the light comes with, because again, it wouldn't matter normally, right, in a normal light, because in 6 months or so you're going to replace the bulb anyway. Part of what you're paying for when you order that LED light is all the bulbs that come in it. So if you get this chandelier and it's got 12 lights in it that are LED bulbs, and those are supposed to last you for like 10 years, then you don't want to have to replace those, right? So you want to pay attention to things like the color of the light. So there are certain online lighting retailers that you can use, that you can actually use those. And I think even some of their customer service, like chat box down there, can help you with some of those. Or you can call a professional to help you make lighting choices like me. I do that in consultations and designer on call. So I would make sure that all of your lighting looked really great together and help you choose those correct lightings. So we're going to talk a little bit more about lighting tomorrow, but not in the detail that I've gone into in these past 3 videos, especially for kitchen lighting. So this is specifically kitchen lighting, but also, lighting in the broader category of lighting. So that is all for tonight. Tomorrow I'll have kind of a summary wrap up and talk about a couple of things. And then Friday I'm starting a new at lunchtime. This Friday I'm going to be just kind of talking about who's open out there. So if you're sitting around in your house and you're staring at the 4 walls right now, like most of us are, and you're thinking, I need to do this, and you've got that to-do list just going in your head, then I'm going to give you some ideas on some things that you might be able to do while you're sheltering in place in your home, and things are getting on your nerves. So we're going to talk about that on Friday. So who's still open? What can you do while you're sheltering in place? All right. Have a good evening, and please give me some questions, or I'm just going to be rambling on and on worse than normal, worse than I normally do tomorrow. Have a good evening.